Okay, Team Impact, it's Friday, January 3rd. You're on a snow remote day, but we are moving on. We're moving on to order of operations. I've put a copy of the answer key for the previous lesson. Check your homework. I've also posted a new Khan Academy assignment for next week. So we're going to have homework in the packet, and you have another digital activity due today. It's on the order of operations. We need to keep rolling on to stay on course. Let's get started today. The order of operations is kind of really a fun thing to do. When we look at this, we have to understand something, that there's a mnemonic device that's called Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, but everything in math has an order. It's the universal language. It's like music. If you were to play notes here or in Russia, they would be the same notes. In math, if you were to do the math here or in Ukraine or Australia or New Zealand, you have to follow the same rules. And that's why it's kind of a universal language. So let's get started here and get rolling. Denise is learning to make cupcakes using her grandma's recipe, but accidentally dropped the card on the floor. It helped Denise order the steps correctly. So when we bake, we have to get things going. Well, the first thing that I would do, kind of looking down through here, is I would kind of get the oven ready if I'm going to bake. So I'm going to preheat to 350 degrees. Now, after that, all right, would I start to combine the flour? Well, let's kind of look down through here and add mixtures and mix. Bake, that's probably last. Grease and flour a 9x9 pan and fill the muffin pan with paper cups, right? We're making cupcakes, so that seems to be number 2 to me. I would grease and fill it in. Number 3, all right. Would we pour it? No. We kind of figured out that's last. What about this? In a medium bowl, cream together sugar and butter. Beat the eggs in 1 minute and then stir in the vanilla. I think that's number 3. That's kind of what we would do here. All right. Number 4, after that, I would combine the flour and the powder mix, sure. And then number 5, I would pour or spoon the batter into the prepared pan. That's 5. And finally, we would go 6. All right, I didn't spend a lot of time on that because I want to get into the math piece of this. Order of operations provides a process for simplifying expressions so that all answers are the same. There are various ways to remember the order of operations, including, all right, a mnemonic device of please, excuse, my dear Aunt Sally. And you're going to notice that when I write this mnemonic device out, I put a bracket under M to D and A to S and put L/R and L/R. And that's going to mean left to right and left to right. So that's going to help us remember. And I'll explain that later as we get rolling down through this. Okay? Okay. So I'm not really going to worry about this side. I'm going to talk more about this side. So when we have problems with multiple steps, we need to follow that order of operations. Do we have parentheses, please? Do we have exponents? This is multiplication, this is division, this is addition, this is subtraction. So what's our first step here? I like to underline it, and I see parentheses, or 15 minus 4 is my first step. Now, on the second one, I have division and multiplication. Well, you'll notice that division is before multiplication here. But you'll also notice that there's an L to R. So when we have this set up side by side, separated by a number, we're going to have to go left to right. So actually, we're going to take 18 and divide it by 6. Even though the multiplication comes before the division, we work left to right. Okay? Next one up. We have 14 divided by 2 plus 3 cubed. And this is in parentheses. So certainly we would do the parentheses first, and we would do the 14 divided by 2. The grouping symbols, right? Those are grouping symbols. Okay? All right. We're doing well here. The next one is interesting. we have parentheses, but inside the parentheses, I have an exponent and a subtraction sign. So I see there's the exponent and here's subtraction. So clearly, I'm going to do that exponent first, and I'm going to do 12 square first. And then I would subtract 4, all right, and then I would do that at exponent and then subtract and add, right? Last one is a unique problem, all right? This problem is set up as 4 times 8 divided by 5 minus 3. When we have multiple steps above the bracket, above the division symbol or the fraction sign, this is kind of like having parentheses around both of those. So we would simplify the top, we would simplify the bottom, and then divide. So what are we going to do first? Well, we're going to do 4 times 8. So this is the key point. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. When we have multiplication and division, we go left to right when they're side by side. When we have addition and subtraction, we would go left to right when they are side by side. Let's flip the page and go. Okay, so on the next page, all right, we have some problems here. It says simplify the expression. So simplifying the expression tells us to go ahead and solve it, right? And when we do this, all right, you're not going to like this, but you need to underline and do 1 step per line. These problems today are pretty easy, but when you get back in class, we'll warm up to way more difficult problems than this. So when I do this, I'm going to take a look at this. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and write, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and I'm going to bracket those two just as a visual reminder to help me, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is 2 square. So I'm going to rewrite 18 plus 6 times 2 square. Well, 2 square is 2 times 2. Next up, I have addition and multiplication. Here it is, way before addition. I'm going to multiply. So 18 plus 24. And then finally, I'm going to add those two together. 18 plus 24 is 42. And I always like to circle my final answer so you can see exactly what I've done each step. Okay? Okay, number 2. Number 2, we have parentheses. Clearly, that's a grouping symbol. We know we're doing that first. So 18 plus 6 is 24 times 2 square. So I've done this. Next up is the 2 square, which is 4. And then finally, 24 times 4 is 96. And I like to circle that final answer, right? So looking back over this, all right, describe the difference between 1 and 2, all right, and how did it impact? Well, the difference between 1 and 2 is this had parentheses, and this did not. So clearly I added first instead of doing the exponent. Here I did the exponent first, all right, just to chat about that. Let's continue on. And what I'd like for you to do is pause the video and do 3, 4, and 5, and then turn it back on and check it. But please show your work, all right, because I'm going to be looking for that work. First up is parentheses. 15 plus 8 square minus 9 plus 4, all right, is 23. And if you need to show work off to the side, you're certainly welcome to do that. Now, as I look at this, and I'm going to slide this down so you can recognize that I still have my mnemonic device up there, I'm going to do my exponent first. So 15 plus 8 square is 64 minus 23. Because 8 times 8 is 64. Now, we have addition and subtraction side by side, so we're going to go left to right there. So 15 plus 64, and I'm going to come off to the side, and I'm going to do that math and get 79 minus 23. Okay? And then finally, I'm going to finish up, and I'm going to do 79 minus 23, and it's okay to do the math off to the side, and I'll pull that back up so you can see, and we end up with 56. So 56 is our simplified answer. Okay? Good stuff. Good math today. All right, we have a unique problem here. All right, we have 7 squared minus 13 divided by 24 minus 8. So we're going to simplify the top, simplify the bottom, and then divide. Right? So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to simplify this. So here we go. 7 squared, 7 times 7 is 49, minus 13 divided by 24 minus 18. Well, I think 24 minus 18 is 6, right? So I've simplified this piece, but I need to go another step and write equals there. So 49 minus 13 is 36. So it's going to be 36 divided by 6. I took care of that piece there. I showed my work. That's mental math. 36 divided by 6 is 6, and I circle my answer. Okay? So this works out well. All right, next up. We have multiple steps here. We have all kind of good stuff here. And remember, it's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I like to bracket those because that means left to right and left to right. Okay? So clearly I have an exponent first. Exponent is first. Let's get after it. Remember to write each step. 2 squares 4. Now, what do we do next? All right, this is kind of a unique situation here, and we can cheat a little bit, okay, because we have multiplication and multiplication, and we have addition and subtraction in the middle. So when we have an instance like that, we actually can get rid of both multiplication signs, all right, because it's clearly evident I have to multiply before I add and subtract. So 7 times 8 is 56, minus 5, plus 3 times 4 is 12. So I did this operation and this operation, right? And now we're going to go ahead and subtract. 56 minus 5 is 51 plus 12. And you can clearly see what, and I didn't underline there, clearly see what I have done each step. And that is vital because you're going to make mistakes, and that will help you see what mistake you made. 51 plus 12 is 63. Let's circle that up. Okay? All right. So you should be feeling pretty good. We're going through this methodically and taking a look at all this. Let's continue on. Mrs. Wetzel asked students to write an expression that simplified to 13. Which student completed the task? Excuse me. Pardon me, I apologize. Okay, so we're looking for, was it Maggie, Alexandria, or Taylor? Which one simplified down to 13? Right, and I'm just going to work on these and see which one it is. And I guess it could be more than one because they have a student in parentheses, right? So let's take a look at Maggie here, okay? So let's get rid of this. 4 squared is 16 minus 12 plus 3 times 3. Let's get rid of that. 16 minus 12 plus 9, right? And again, we're looking for 13. So now I'm going to go ahead left to right here because we have subtraction and addition side by side, separated by a number. 16 minus 12 is 4 plus 9, and that does equal 13. So Maggie is certainly one person that simplifies to 13. I'm going to kind of draw a line here to separate these two. Let's take a look at Alex. Okay, so Alex, we have to multiply first. So we have 3 plus 10 minus 3. 3 plus 10 is 13 minus 3, minus 3. 13 minus 3 is 10. No, does not equal 13. It does not simplify to 13. Okay, and I'll draw a line. And I'm using red pen because it's easier to see for you folks. All right, let's take a look at Taylor. All right, Tay has an expression here of 2 to the third power minus 4 times 3 plus 1. Let's get rid of this. Parenthesis. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 4 times 3 plus 1. Now, let's take a look at these parentheses. 8 minus 4 is 4 times 3 plus 1. And this is a scenario. I'm going to try and save a little room and kind of go through this whole thing. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 does work. It matches what we're looking for as 13. Okay, as 13. So we have both Maggie and Taylor. Maggie and Taylor. Okay, let's take a peek down at the bottom. We're almost done with this. We're into this about 16 minutes. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's nice to have these videos, right? 3 students wrote a statement describing the steps to simplify the expression. Who wrote the correct statement? Okay, so who is first? Let's start with Shelby, right? Who, that's singular. So once I find one, I know I'm done, right? Shelby. After subtracting 12, well, clearly we have to do parentheses first. After subtracting 12, that works. From 24, you should multiply 6 by 6. Is that correct? Well, let's take a look at this. Parentheses would be first, right? And then after the parentheses, I have an exponent. So clearly, Shelby is correct. Yes. These two are not correct, all right, are not correct, right, because I found the correct one. And if we wanted to work this out, we can, right? 6 squared divided by 24 minus 12, right? Let's go ahead and do it. 17 times 6 squared divided by 12. Exponent next. 17 times 36 divided by 12. Okay? Now, we're going to need to go left to right here and multiply that. And when we get a bigger number like that, you know, I have no problem with you jumping on your calculator and using it, because that's the purpose of this, right? So 36 times 12 is 600. 36 times 17 is 612 divided by 12. And 612 divided by 12 is 51. So that's simplified as 51. So let's see about this. The last step involves 17 times 3. No, that's not the last step. The last step was division. In one step of the problem, you will divide 12 divided by 12. Are we dividing 12 divided by 12 anywhere? No, I'm taking 612 divided by 12. But I'm not taking 12 divided by 12, so that certainly doesn't work either, right? Okay, so here's the deal today. We're going to flip the page, all right, and I want this done, all right? Order of operations, independent practice. If you didn't have this, I put a copy in the Schoology. Make sure you show your work. This is due for Monday, along with the digital activity that I put in Schoology. I'm not even going to look at yesterday's digital activity until Monday, because I want to get everybody caught up on everything. Have a great day, and hopefully you can get some sled riding in later. Bye-bye.